tell us your background, where you're listening in from. I'm Charisse, by the way. I'm based here in Davao City. I work in the software technology industry. Who else is listening in? Hello, from Cebu, Chester Ian Nadella. We also have Delio from Baguio City, Janelle from Manila, also in IT. Ken from Mandaue City, a senior accountant. We have a student from Marikina. Oh, I love the pancit canton there in Marikina. Suzette, Ariel from Alabang, lots of people from NCR here. Mark, Rico Santos, a physician from Marikina. Alex, a business process engineer from Taguig. And Suzette, in accounting as well, from Cebu. And we have Aldi and Maya from LA, Lower Antipolo. So hello, everyone. Hello, Chad, Jovi, from Cavite. Lots of people all over the Philippines with different backgrounds. Nice to see all of you. Mocha, Michelle from Cainta, Milay from Davao del Sur as well. And Bedith from Binyan, Laguna. So hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Career Crash Course. It's a weekly learning session. It happens every Thursday. And this is where we discuss about leadership and success through books. This event is sponsored by Syzygy. It's a leadership search and development organization. So we are a community that fosters entrepreneurship. We have people from different backgrounds, and what we share the same passion in learning and personal development. So tonight we are really very blessed with our speaker. She is the co-founder of Syzygy. She mentors a lot of professionals for business ownership, and she actually speaks in the global arena about leadership and entrepreneurship. So she used to operate a lot of fast food chain outlets in different malls, and she's a graduate of mass communication from Maryknoll College. But before we introduce her in, I'd like to remind everyone that this is actually, there are two parts of this session. The first part is the book discussion, and then after that, please stick around because we will be breaking out into rooms here in Zoom so we can share about what we've learned. So, without further ado, please help me welcome Ms. Olivia Fernandez Bernabe.
Thank you so much, Charisse. That was a nice introduction, and I'm glad you welcomed everybody, especially those who are here for the first time. Congratulations. Not everybody likes to spend an hour or so learning and, learning about books and leadership and stuff like that. And I think you're special because you made it and you're here, you're watching, whether you're here at Zoom or watching through YouTube or Facebook Live. Congratulations. That's our common denominator. Syzygy is a company that is involved in the wellness area, in the wealth creation area, and in helping people develop themselves to their fullest potential or being wise. And tonight is about being wise. We're going to cover a book, and this particular book inspired me a lot, particularly because of the lockdown. And I managed to digest a lot of things from this book. I'm not going to cover everything in the book. That's just too much, but there will be two parts. The first part is tonight, and the next part will be continuation, will be next Thursday. And the book is written by my favorite leadership author, the most phenomenal, most successful ever in the history of leadership books. And that's, if you can see this, John Maxwell. Okay, and his book is actually called No Limits. And I'm just going to go through some ideas tonight to just help you reflect and think and try to find out how you can develop yourself. So today's discussion will actually, let me just get this out. Okay. We're going to cover three areas, which is your capacity for thinking, your capacity for developing your character, and your capacity for risk. Actually, this book, No Limits, covers blowing the cap off so many capabilities or capacities. For example, energy, emotional capacity, people capacity, creative capacity, leadership capacity, responsibility capacity, intentionality capacity, spiritual capacity, on and lots. But we're just going to cover three. And I'd like to go ahead and start by asking you a question. Do you know what's limiting you? What's holding you back? Well, for me, I thought of some things. I was, when I was little and I was in high school, I was never really an outstanding person. I'm a very quiet kind of person. And even as I became older during social events, I was never a talker. I was never the life of the party. In fact, I would just perhaps sit in one corner and not talk a lot, not socialize. I have very few friends. I'm not like some of you out there who have charisma and you really attract people to you. And, you just have like tons of friends. And I didn't think that I had anything special. I was, you'd say, as very shy. And if you're familiar with the book, Personality Plus, I was really more of the phlegmatic personality. If maybe some of you know me, can't believe it, the laid back, quiet peacemaker. But what is limiting you? Something in your past? Some um, maybe somebody rejected you, maybe you failed an exam, maybe someone judged you and said that you're not good enough, that you're not going to amount to anything, or somebody ignored you. We all have that in our lives, but your capacity isn't set. Like what Howard Schultz said, life is like a 10-speed bike. Most of us have gears we never use. Think about that. Think about the capacity in the biblical example of David and Goliath. David was, I look at my notes here, 140 pounds and 5'6". And Goliath was 240 pounds and he was a giant. And nobody believed that David could fight and kill and win over Goliath. He did not have that capacity. That was absolutely a ridiculous thought. But hey, we all know the story. David killed Goliath. So you've got it inside of you. You can become aware of the possibilities that can make you better. And that's the goal for tonight. Who you are determines how you see yourself. So if you say you can, you're right. And if you say you can't, you're also right. It all depends on you, how you see yourself. Ryan and I, my son, we were talking about this Netflix movie we just watched, entitled Eurovision, the what is it? The Fire Saga. It's so funny. I mean, you guys, it's very entertaining. And not to tell you the whole story, but the male character there, he lost. Anyway, he lost. He thought he lost, and he was very, very depressed. And he looked very lowly at himself at that point of the movie. And he tells the child, you know what? He tells the child, you better stop dreaming while you're still young. Forget your dreams. See, that's what people do. When what happens to them, they reflect in other people. But if you talk to people who are very successful businessmen, successful artists, successful doctors in various careers, they actually will encourage you and tell you, you know, if I can do this, you can do this. But you determine how you see others. So it's really totally up to you. What stops people from reaching their capacity is often not a lack of desire, but a lack of awareness. What do I mean by that? In the book, John Maxwell actually talks about certain things that prevent us from developing good self awareness. We're not just aware, we have the capacity, but we're not just aware. We have excuses. Oh, wow. Do we have excuses? We can't develop ourselves to our fullest God given potential because I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm not a good speaker, I'm not good looking, I don't have the skill, I don't have the talent, I don't have the time, I'm too busy, and on and on and on. That prevents us from developing self-good awareness. There's also these success fantasies which are ungrounded in reality. It's like expecting too much when it's not real. For example, you want to be a contestant for the Miss Universe contest, but you're 5 feet tall. I mean, no matter what you do, that fantasy isn't going to happen, right? Talking without listening to others. And that's a problem many times when we interact with people. We just talk and talk and talk and talk. And it seems that the talkers are the aggressive, knowledgeable people. But when you read books, you realize that the people who don't talk, they're the ones that really have good sense and have, you know, have something in their heads, because the Lord gave us 2 ears to listen and one mouth to talk. But talking and talking without listening disables our ability to be self-aware. Unresolved negative emotions, that stops us. Why? Well, as I said, maybe something happened in the past. You failed an exam and you're very, very fearful about math, for example. You have this preconceived idea that you're going to be rejected by a guy or a girl that you're trying, you have a crush on. Um, your parents scolded you, your teacher told you that you're no good, and you tried something before, you tried a business before and it failed, and it gave you negative emotions, and it's distorting your self-awareness. All these baggages, all these excuses prevent us. Habitual self-distraction. You're distracted. You're doing project A, project B, C, D, E, F, and you're just jumping everywhere. There's no focus. You're not able to develop self-awareness. Absence of personal reflection. Now, this is important too, because in the midst of all this that's happening to us, we're still living very, very busy lives. We need to stop sometimes. We need to sit down, be silent, have no thoughts, blank. And the very powerful way I can reflect is by prayer, just by being quiet and listening to the Lord. And many people don't have the time to do this because we just have busy lives and a willingness to pay the price to gain experience. Are we willing to pay the price to gain experience? You see, any kind of success is uphill, and there is no success inside your comfort zone. If you want to develop yourself more, you know what? It's going to be outside your comfort zone, as I will show you later on. Okay. Number 3, you can remove the caps from your capacity, the caps that are blocking or stopping you from developing your capacity. You can do that. And I'm going to talk to you about 3 areas you can develop the capacities you already possess And you can make choices that maximize your possibilities. It's totally up to you. It's all in your hands, okay? Now, caps that you can't remove, because we're going to talk about blowing out that caps, okay? You cannot change your place of birth. You cannot change the year you were born. How I wish I was born in the 80s or the 90s. I'd be a millennial, you know, and just in the peak of all this new technology, this new normal, a millennial. Wow. Your birth family, your parents, and your birth characteristics, you cannot change that. Okay? But this caps you can remove. The caps that others put on you. The caps that you put on yourself. Living in a limiting environment. Do you know that we are the average of the 5 people we deal with every day? And because we deal with the same people every day, we are limited by that environment. So if the people you work with every day make about 20 or 30 or 50,000 a month, and there's nothing wrong with making that kind of money, that could be big for you, that could be small for you, but that's your limit, because your thinking is influenced around you. It's just like the story of the elephants in the circus, because elephants in the circus are born and they're like baby elephants. And immediately their 4 legs are tied with a thick rope, really secured so they can't escape. So the elephants in the circus grow up thinking that all they have in their world is that area around them where they can walk, the area that is confined because they are tied down. And these elephants grow up to be huge creatures, and they can easily just break away from from the rope that's limiting them. But they won't. In fact, the rope isn't a rope anymore. By the time they're grown up, they're so conditioned to think that's all they can have. They just have a string. They just have a string around their legs, and they will not break out and discover new areas. And we are not elephants, of course. We're human beings, but we have a way of being limited because of the environment that we are part of on a daily basis. Having few expansive models of success. Well, it would be great if I could learn from Mr. Henry C. or Mr. Gokong Wei. Imagine what you would learn if you had dinner with Lucio Tan every night or his family. Even if you didn't say a word, but you were just around them and they were discussing business and, you know, a different kind of level of thinking. You would be able to blow your caps off, whatever limits you have. But we don't have those models for success. We normally don't have those models for success. If you're someone who wants to really move up and develop, be more than you can be more, see more, help more, dream more, you've got to find people that will pull you up, people that are far more successful than you, because that's how you learn. Models of success who are willing to mentor you and to guide you and to teach you. And something else that you can remove are the limitations, like you're looking from approval from others, okay? You're judging things based on what other people will say to you. And it doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter. You live your life and it doesn't matter what other people say. So we're going to move on and talk about caps that you can remove. John Maxwell says, you can be successful if others don't believe in you, but you cannot be successful if you don't believe in yourself. So this believing in yourself is critically important for success. You've got to think highly of yourself, and you've got to be immune to other people who are giving comments that try to distort this image of yourself, which is not real. You have to be strong and you have to be certain about it. Okay, so developing the capacities you already possess. The first capacity is we're going to talk about your thinking capacity. You are today where your thoughts have brought you, and you will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. James Allen said. You know, I was just talking with my friend. It's her birthday today, and we had a Zoom party. And she actually is pretty close to Hans C, one of the suppliers, and she's very successful herself. And she told us, "Do you know what level of education Henry C had?" And I thought all this time he was a college graduate. No, Hans C told her that his father graduated. Uh, the highest level of education was first year college. Now tell me, what is the difference between the beggar and Henry C? Maybe a little more education. They have both 24 hours a day. They're both human beings, eat, sleep, same stuff. What is the difference between the beggar and Henry C? The difference between the beggar and Henry C, who did not have a proper education and who started off as a itinerant, moving salesman with a cart filled with stuff. That's how he started. The difference is the way they think. The beggar thinks a different way, and Henry C thinks a different way, and that is the reason. Now, how can you remove the cap off your thinking? Nothing limits achievement, small thinking, and nothing expands possibilities like unleashed imagination. James Ward, a psychologist, said, and St. Paul the Apostle said, whatever things are true, noble, just, pure, lovely, are of good report. If there is any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy, think on these things. How do you think? What do you think? Think the thought, value your thinking. This is very, very critical. Okay, here's some questions as I tell you a story. John Maxwell says he gives points on how you can develop your thinking. You've got to find an idea, okay? You're reflecting and you find an idea. I'm in a pandemic. What's going to happen in the future? We're never going back to our old normal. It's going to be new normal. I was thinking that way in 1996, actually. At that time, we owned a chain of stores, small stores in the food courts, but there were about 12. And I was beginning to realize that I was not developing myself to my fullest potential. I was not growing. I wasn't learning. I was not being challenged by anything. It was boring. I was in the dessert industry. I was in ice cream and donuts, and that was boring to me, counting donuts every day. I mean, how excited would you be? What kind of mental growth would you have counting donuts every day? And I had this idea, like perhaps you're having now, is that can I find a business? Can I find a new business that will not interfere with my current business? And I developed an idea of what this dream business would be like. It came out because of a need for change. I wanted things to change in my life. I prayed to the Lord and I told the Lord, Lord, I don't think you put me on planet Earth for me to count donuts, count ice cream cones, count money that isn't mine because I need to pay for the rent and the overhead, hire people and fire people. I was X years old then. Yeah, that was decades ago. And I'm like, I want something more in my life, dear Lord. Where can I find this? I had this longing for a business that would get me excited. When I wake up in the morning, I'm excited about what I will discover for the day, what surprises I'm going to have. I would be in an environment like this now. that would help me grow and learn and develop myself to my fullest God-given potential. And I thought about how can I maximize this idea. You know, there was I saw this in a quote in another book, is that God's gift to you is your potential. But what you do with your potential is your gift back to God. So he gave you talents. And at that time in the mid 90s, I was like, Lord, I need to find something exciting. I need to be able to do something significant. And significant is very different from success. Success is when you add value to yourself. Significance is when you add value to other people. I had that burn that I had to do something that was not all about success for me, but instead being able to help other people and giving back, being a person of significance and not just success. And this idea kept growing in my mind on and on. And again, I started to dream about it. I started to think about it a lot. Well, John Maxwell talks about writing down your thoughts. At that time, I didn't write down, but this is a good tool because, you know, when you write down your thoughts, and you visualize it, you even take pictures of your thoughts, of your dreams, of your goals, they become reality. You draw them to you, you attract them to your life when you write and take pictures and you clarify your thinking. And John Maxwell says, find a place to keep your thoughts. The other day we had a vision board session, very interesting. That was great attendance from so many people, because you need to put your thoughts in your vision board and capture your thinking there so it doesn't get lost in your mind. Rethink your thoughts, evaluate your thinking. And this idea of a business that I had, that I would not have to invest a lot of money, there wouldn't be a lot of risk, there would be unlimited potential income. It would enable me to travel the world. It would enable me to meet a lot of new people and interact with different nationalities. It would put me around people who are vastly more successful than me so that I could be pulled up. And in a way, it would be a business of significance where I could help and touch the lives of other people. I dreamt about it. I was rethinking and rethinking, evaluating this. I was praying about it. That was my very excited idea in the mid 90s. I verbalized this thought to my late husband, Ernie. And John Maxwell says, put your thought on the table, share your thinking. When you bring a good thought to the table with a small group of people who are good thinkers, they will always make your thoughts better. This idea I had came to me in 1997, 96 actually, and it was a group of very good thinkers that sat around me and put this idea together in my mind, in reality, in my life. So the idea became reality. And this group of people were actually professionals. They were doctors who were also seeking to diversify their income. And in a way, they were like me, looking to be more, do more, help more, just be more. Just, Lord, I've got this potential. Show me the way. And we all felt the same. Practice your thought. Take your thinking for a walk. Test it. Did I test my idea for the business? Oh yeah, I did. I made a lot of mistakes, but those were learning experiences, not depressing experiences. Question the thought. Ask questions. Challenge the ideas. Expand your thinking. Did I do this? I did. I questioned it a lot. I had a lot of doubts. I sought the answers. I researched it, and what happened was I finally embraced this idea for our syzygy business, this is our syzygy business, that I started to embrace it after attending a live convention in California in 1997. And that convention, it was a weekend convention, changed the course of my entire life, my financial life, my personal life, my spiritual life in a way. And it just changed the course of things for me. I embraced the thought, and I launched the thought, implemented the business. When I came back to the Philippines in 1997, I was unstoppable, and I made the business work with the help of a group of other mentors, of course, who were more successful than me. And up to today, as I speak, 24 years after, I still continue to upgrade the thought and create new thinking, especially now when we are in a new normal. Everything, nothing has changed, but everything has changed. And we have to adapt to this new normal. And what thoughts do you have? What thoughts do you have that you need to, think about, write about, take pictures of, launch, embrace, upgrade, and on and on and on. I have questions for you later during the discussion. So just think about that. The next cap that we're going to talk about is the character capacity. Our values determine our character, and our character determines the direction we will go in life. Your character is who you really are in your heart. Your reputation is what other people say you are. That's your reputation. That's not the same. Your character is the tree. Your reputation is the shadow. Okay? What are your values? They are the foundation of your character. Here are some of there are many values, but here are some of the values that speak out for me: dependability, reliability, loyalty, commitment, open mindedness, consistency, honesty, efficiency, excellence, humility, meekness, on and on and on. Your values will determine your character. And you can improve your character. You can blow the cap off your character, what's limiting your character from being the best that you can be, because your character is the foundation of your success. Let's talk about good character. It's a choice you make every day. You're not good character today and then bad character the next day. Let me tell you something about someone I met just on the phone. He's actually head of the COVID testing in Providence Hospital. I won't give you his name. He might be in this webinar. Anyway, he's 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 this unusual guy, because as I had my helper tested for COVID, someone who was going to work for me has not entered my home and our village yet. But before I attempted to hire her, I had her tested, and I ended up in Providence Hospital, and I met this guy, and he was just exceptionally nice. I don't know why. If it was that way with everybody, then he's really very unusually, he's an unusual human being. He there are hundreds of people having COVID testing, and he would actually call me, remind me, report to me the results. And even before the testing was made, he explained to me in great detail what is the difference between the rapid testing and the swab testing. And then he followed up, and then he emailed to me results, and then he kept on following up with me. And I said, you know what? You are such an excellent employee. He holds a rather high position, so he must be busy, but he had the time. He had a very good character, and I'm planning to actually write his boss to commend him for what he's been doing. Your character speaks louder than words. It's what you do. It's not what you say. Okay, try to Try to show your good character to your child. For example, there's this joke. How does that joke go? That there was like a family having dinner, and there were guests in the dinner. I'm just thinking about this now. And the mother, there were guests on the dinner table, and the mother says, okay, uh, child, let's say Susan, my daughter, will you please pray? Dear Lord, I'm praying tonight, and I thank you for the food, and I'm praying that we didn't have these people on the table with us. So that's more or less how the joke goes. It's like, I wish we didn't have guests. So that means that the daughter was actually taught by the mother a bad example, and the daughter picked it up, not just by words, but by actions. Because, you can tell your child, don't gossip, but if you're the one gossiping, no matter what you say, they don't pick up words, they pick up actions. You have to be consistent in all areas of your life. And you engender trust, okay? Trust. One of the exceptional person I trust in my life is my helper, Flor, who was with me for 25 years. And, you can leave all the jewelry, you can leave all the cash in the house. And for 25 years, nothing was ever lost. Not even 1 peso, not even money that gets left in my pocket, in our pockets, and goes to the laundry. She returns the money after the laundry. That is trust. And that is a character that is very rare. Good character is tested in times of trouble. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Think about that. Being able to forgive is a very good, very, very good characteristic, although it's not as easy, right? Good character always takes the high road. Let me read you from the book. Low road character is easy. It doesn't take any character at all. Low road people seek revenge and retaliation when wronged, play the same game that others do, are guided by emotions that constantly go up and down, are reactive, and live no better than anyone else. High road people are totally different. They extend unconditional love and forgiveness. They refuse to play games with people. They are guided by good character based on values. They are proactive. They make things happen. And they live exceptional lives. Choose to take the high road example of living life. I'll tell you someone who took the high road and inspired me. I'm part of a Catholic community. It's called Ligaya ng Panginoon. And I remember very distinctly when my husband was rushed to the ER in St. Luke's. And you know how it is. This was like the night before he passed away. He was rushed and there were no rooms, and you have to wait for hours in the ER. And it was already midnight when my sister from Ligaya, that's why it's so wonderful to be part of a community, came and visited. We were in the ER, and it was midnight. And she goes, "Sis, have you eaten?" I said, "Don't worry about it. It's so late. Go home. I can manage. There's a 7-Eleven there. We'll just get something." And she said, "No, sis, you have to eat." I can't eat. You see, Ryan and I, we're okay, we're fine. Thank you for visiting. It's okay. I really appreciate it. No, sis, you have to eat. And then she disappeared. I actually thought she left, and I was very happy she had to go home. I mean, it was midnight. After a few minutes, she comes back with noodles and ulam from North Park. in 2 big bags. And she gives it to us. And Ryan and I, we were famished in the ER. You know how it is in the ER? You don't have chairs. You're not comfortable. And I said, thank you so much, sis. So now please go home. And she goes, no, I'm not going home. I'm going to wait until you get to your room. And she did. And that was already past midnight. I don't know what time it was. I said, sis, go home. We're going to be fine. You were here. No, we'll wait until you're in the room. And husband and wife waited. That's what I call taking the very high road. Good character delivers on its promises. Do you promise? Do you deliver on your promise? Or is it just empty words? The greatest promise ever made was this: for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. John 3:16. Let's go to your risk capacity. This is the third capacity we're going to talk about. Your choice to get out of your comfort zone. If your dreams don't scare you, they're too small. Your dreams must get you out of your comfort zone and must be scary. That is the element of, dreaming big and taking risks. Famous Steve Jobs said, I think he said this in his deathbed, if I'm not mistaken, reality is your friend during high-risk times. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. Remembering that you're going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. Take a risk. Throw caution to the wind. But you've also got to remember some things. I don't look in the mirror. Okay, show me a guy who's afraid to look bad, and I will show you a guy who you can beat anytime. Lou Bronze is actually Brosk is actually a sports coach. And what he's saying here is that, when someone's always trying to, I'm afraid what people are going to say, and I don't want to look bad to other people. We are living our lives based on what other people say. We will always stay in a comfort zone. We will never be able to conquer the higher ground. Don't count losses. Instead, count lessons. We grow up in school and we are told that making a mistake is bad, and that if you make a mistake, you can fail. And when you're in school and you fail, you're going to shudder in fear, because what is my teacher going to tell me? What are my parents going to tell me? What are my classmates going to tell me? I failed. So we grow up in this environment thinking that failure is bad. But actually, in reality, in business and in life, failure is good, because that's how you learn. Your stumbling block is your stepping stone. Your setback is not a setback. It's a way for you to learn and discover this wonderful lessons in life. So failure is not bad. Don't focus on your fear, but instead focus on your dream. That's how you're able to take more risks. Sometimes we're so fearful. Fear looks like a 7-foot monster, a green monster with bloody eyes, sharp teeth and fire coming out of its mouth like a dragon. That's our fear. And then your dream of having a better life, more security, better home, education for your kids, peace of mind that no pandemic will ever ruin your family ever again. It becomes so small and the fear is so big. Why don't you reverse it? Why don't you put power to your dream? And then it can extinguish the fear. Good leadership gives you a greater chance of success. When you're taking a risk and you're doing something new, it's important to be with people with good leadership, to get their ideas as well. Because if you're all alone taking a risk, it's kind of hard. The bigger the risk, the more help you will need from others. Don't try to do it alone. And the others are leaders. They like challenge. They're not like well, me, when I was thinking of my business idea almost 2.5 decades ago, I wanted a challenge. I want to do challenging things. I don't want to do things that ordinary people do. I want to stretch outside of my comfort zone. And the leaders you want to you know uh, work with when you go into when you're deciding about taking a risk, they love challenge. They are honest with themselves and they play big. There is no passion to be found playing small, in settling for a life that's less than the one you are capable of living. That's Nelson Mandela. Number five, taking risks always requires personal change. It's not going to be comfortable. Okay? If you write with your right hand and we tell you we're going to change things, okay, we're going to take a risk. Now your right hand is disabled. You are going to write with your left hand. Are you going to succeed? Yes, you will. Will it be easy? No, it won't. Why not? Because it will require change, and change is hard. So be ready. Be ready to face those personal changes. One of my heroes, Nick Vujicic, okay? I think you guys know him. Life may not be going well for you now, but as long as you are here, as long as you press forward, anything is possible. Hold on to hope. And we were like getting pictures of him, and I realized, looking at his pictures today, he's married to a very pretty girl, and he's got two very cute looking children. And this guy, he doesn't have legs and he doesn't have arms, and he's become a best-selling author and a very sought after motivational speaker, a person with no arms and no legs, and with the most positive, empowering attitude you can ever imagine. I've come to the end of the book sharing for tonight. I'm not going to take forever, and I've talked so long. I have a few questions for you because we're going to break up into groups. And the groups are going to be assigned to you via a breakout group. You will be given an invitation. You have to wait for the invitation to appear in your screen, accept it, and you will be put in a discussion group to kind of sort out these things. And these are the questions. One, you can just pick one. You don't have to answer all the questions. And you don't have to share. You can just listen. If all you want to do is listen. Number one is, do you have a system for capturing ideas? Or are you deliberate? What do you do to have new ideas? Number two, you can also ask yourself, have you ever identified your values and put them on writing? What are your values? Are you living your values? Number three is, have you ever learned how to deal with discomfort of being outside your comfort zone? Or are you someone who perhaps, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm in my comfort zone? Think about these questions. And before I say goodbye and give you back to our MC, I just want to tell you a story about the breakout groups. Will happen in 10 minutes because you need to. Can we play music while this is happening? We can't play music. But you can wait for your cue to enter the breakout group. Now, my story to end. Once upon a time, there was a father, and he was in a swimming pool teaching his child, to jump. So the father was in the pool, and the little baby was outside the pool, on the edge of the pool. no water. And the story goes, the father reaches out his hand to his child and tells the child, jump, jump, I'll catch you. And the child, of course, has a lot of fear. I know that children are not afraid of water normally, but this in the story, this child is terrified by the water. And the father says, jump, I'll catch you. And the child has two choices. The child can say, I'm afraid. I'll just stay here. I'm afraid. And that child will grow up inside a comfort zone, always conquered by fear, unable to blow away whatever caps he has, living a very limited life. Or the child could say, I'm afraid, Dad, but I trust you. And the child jumps, and that child grows up to be a very successful person with great ideas, a risk taker, and someone who values other people, someone who has a good character, and someone we'd all look up to. So it's your choice. Think about it. Again, I'm Olivia Fernandez Bernabe, and I was just sharing a bit from this phenomenal book, No Limits. Now, next week on Thursday, I will have other three topics, and these are the topics again: blowing up your cap, and talking about how to develop your people capacity, your ability to build relationships, your attitude capacity, your choice to be positive regardless of circumstances, and your leadership capacity, your ability to lift and lead others. Thank you. Good evening, and see you at the breakout group. Bye.
Thank you very much, Miss Olivia Fernandez Bernabe, for sharing with us um, the little nuggets that you've learned from the book. So tonight, I think we will be, going to groups. We'll talk about how we can lift off the cap of our thinking capacity, shaping our character, and also improving our risk capacity. So let's wait for the breakout groups to be set up. This will be for a few minutes, if I'm not mistaken, and then we go back to the main room. Okay, and tomorrow we will have another webinar. It's especially for those people who want to diversify and who want to find a silver lining in this pandemic. We invite you to join us in the Bouncing Forward webinar series. The speaker will be the co-founder of Syzygy, that's Mr. Ryan Fernandez. So I hope to see you there. And I'm not sure if has everyone gone into their groups yet?
Hi, Charisse. We're in the
Yes.
midst of assigning
All
people.
right.
Just give me a few moments.
Thanks.
If you receive an invitation, please accept. We're going to try and bring you all together
right.
with your friends.
And Ryan, are we going to go back to the main room, or it's just at, the breakout rooms and then it's going to be?
I think that's it.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay.